Welcome back to PsyberSpace. I'm Leslie Poston, and today we're venturing into the dynamic world of digital language. How do the words we use online evolve, and what drives these changes? From TikTokers inventing clever euphemisms to bloggers finding ways around censorship, we're diving deep into how digital platforms influence our language and what this means for freedom of expression and community engagement. Language is not just a tool for communication, it's a living, breathing entity that evolves with our societies. In the digital realm, this evolution is often accelerated by the unique challenges and constraints posed by online platforms. Today, we'll explore some fascinating examples of how content creators adapt their language to fit within, or cleverly circumvent, the rules set by algorithms and platform policies. The internet is a space of boundless expression, yet it's also a place of significant restriction. Platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram have strict guidelines about what is considered appropriate content. These rules are often enforced by algorithms that scan for specific keywords to flag or even remove content. This has led to the birth of an entirely new dialect. Let's call it algorithm speak. Take, for example, content creators discussing topics like mental health. To avoid algorithmic penalties for mentioning sensitive topics like suicide, creators have adopted terms like unalive and sewer slide. TikTok's moderation techniques, in particular, create an environment where algorithm speak is a necessity. Users who are bonding with a community of fellow survivors have to diminish their experiences by substituting words like grape for rape. Activists and civil rights TikTok users find themselves infantilizing the communities they serve, forced to say things like watermelon people or use an emoji, instead of simply being able to say the word Palestine without consequence. These activists even have to use code words to talk about people harassing their communities on and offline, such as saying the blue and white country instead of Israel when there is conflict in their chats. These substitutions aren't isolated to TikTok. On Twitter, Threads, and in comment sections across platforms, Black and Indigenous people of color who are creators and their allies must say YT instead of white, or use emojis in place of words when talking about challenging topics. This linguistic creativity ensures that important discussions can continue without disruption, highlighting how communities self-regulate and adapt to technological constraints. But why do these adaptations matter? They serve as a critical bridge, maintaining the flow of information and support across the community. By tweaking their language, content creators can keep their videos accessible, ensuring that their messages, whether they're about mental health awareness, political commentary, or social justice, reach their intended audience without censorship. Academically, the concept of linguistic adaptation online is supported by numerous studies, including research published in the Journal of Computer-Mediated Communication. This research explores how users adapt linguistically to both the technological limitations and the socio-cultural norms of digital platforms. These adaptations are not merely incidental, they are often strategic, aimed at maximizing engagement and reach while minimizing the risk of censorship or social backlash. A poignant example comes from studies of Twitter during political protests, where hashtags evolve rapidly to keep movements agile and difficult for authorities to suppress. Dr. Emily Bell of Columbia University noted that during the Arab Spring, activists frequently changed and updated hashtags to evade government tracking and algorithmic suppression, showcasing a dynamic interplay between linguistic innovation and digital strategy. This linguistic agility reflects a broader narrative of resistance and adaptation. As digital spaces become increasingly surveilled and regulated, the ability to speak in code allows marginalized or suppressed voices to persist and flourish. This not only serves practical purposes, but also fosters a sense of community and shared identity among those in the know. Beyond mere adaptations, these changes in language reflect a broader trend of resilience and innovation among digital communities. Users find themselves constantly negotiating the line between expression and the ever-changing constraints imposed by algorithms. This negotiation often results in a rich tapestry of digital subcultures, each with its own vernacular. The emergence of terms like no cap, which evolved within Black youth culture to denote sincerity and then expanded online rapidly, underscores how digital expressions can quickly become mainstream. In fact, it can't be overstated how often some of the most viral and creative uses of linguistic coding to deal with algorithmic suppression originate from within the Black community on and offline. Too often, BIPOC creators don't get credit for the work they do to keep people connected. Michelle Johnson and Adaya Ayana wrote about this appropriation of AAVE by non-Black creators in social media on their Medium blogs, and Sabrina Thorani and Lucia Frisky have a great video about this on YouTube called Who Said That? The Use and Appropriation of Black Voices on TikTok. I'll link all of these in the blog post that accompanies this episode. The academic field of sociolinguistics offers insights into these phenomena. Dr. Penelope Eckert's research at Stanford University, for instance, points out that these linguistic shifts often start among younger, digitally active populations before permeating broader society. This pattern highlights the role of digital platforms as laboratories for linguistic innovation, where new lexical items and usage can emerge and gain traction at an unprecedented pace. Additionally, the legal implications of these adaptations cannot be ignored. As users cleverly navigate the restrictions of digital platforms, they also challenge the boundaries of copyright and trademark laws. For example, when YouTube creators use the euphemism like the Backstreet Boys reunion tour to refer to the global pandemic, they not only evaded algorithmic censorship, but also creatively sidestepped potential legal issues related to discussing COVID-19 directly in their locations. This linguistic phenomenon isn't just about avoiding censorship. It's also about creating a shared understanding and a sense of belonging within online communities. Euphemisms become in-group language, signaling that you are part of the community and that you understand the norms and challenges. Consider how discussions about sexuality are navigated on platforms like Instagram and TikTok. Terms like schmex work replace sex work, not just to evade algorithmic detection, but also to challenge societal stigma. These adaptations foster a subculture within a culture where sensitive topics are discussed openly and safely, albeit under a veil of coded language. Academics studying digital communications have noted this trend. Dr. Alexandra Georgakopoulos from King's College London suggests that these linguistic shifts are not merely tactical, but also formative. They help shape the identities of those within the community, reinforcing solidarity and shared goals. This linguistic solidarity is crucial in movements like that of LGBTQ+ rights, Black Lives Matter, or anywhere where language plays a powerful role in uniting and mobilizing activists. Further academic support for the use of euphemisms in online communities comes from a study by Dr. Alice Marwick, which found that subtle shifts in language allow communities to discuss taboo or controversial topics in ways that fly under the radar of automated moderation tools. These linguistic strategies can be seen as forms of what sociologist Irving Goffman called backstage behavior, where individuals feel free to express themselves in ways that might be unacceptable in more public or monitored settings. The strategic use of euphemisms also impacts how communities perceive and address internal conflicts. Research by Dr. Linda Putnam suggests that by softening the language around contentious issues, communities may enhance dialogue, but at the risk of diluting the urgency of the message. This balancing act highlights the complex roles of language in shaping online discourse. Moreover, the development of these unique linguistic adaptations can lead to what linguists call cryptolex, secret languages understood only within particular communities. These specialized languages not only encode group identity, but also serve as a protective shield, keeping external regulators and unintended audiences at bay while strengthening internal bonds. This segment of euphemistic language is particularly pronounced in communities dealing with stigmatized subjects. For instance, discussions around health issues like epilepsy are carefully navigated to avoid triggering platform algorithms that might mistakenly classify the content and label the content as sensitive or offensive. This has led to the use of terms like the electrical issue to discuss seizures, allowing for the continuation of support and information sharing without undue censorship. Dr. Susan Herring's work at Indiana University on computer-mediated communication illuminates how these linguistic patterns not only form a protective layer, but also create barriers to outsiders, thus reinforcing community bonds. These patterns, she notes, are akin to the use of argot or jargon in traditional subcultures, which serve both an inclusive and exclusive function, delineating who belongs and who remains outside the community of knowledge. The evolution of these euphemisms also challenges the capabilities of natural language processing technologies. As platforms deploy increasingly sophisticated AI to monitor and moderate content, the continuous adaptation of community-driven language necessitates ongoing adjustments in AI algorithms. This cat-and-mouse game between human linguistic ingenuity and machine learning models illustrates a fascinating dynamic in the field of artificial intelligence. Algorithms are not just passive tools, they actively shape the language landscape of digital platforms. As these algorithms learn from vast datasets, they begin to enforce norms that may inadvertently suppress certain types of speech and elevate others. This can have profound implications on what topics become visible and which ones are hidden from public discourse. The term shadow banning exemplifies this. It refers to the practice of subtly blocking or limiting the visibility of content without informing the content creator. Often, users don't realize they're being shadow banned until they notice a significant drop in engagement. This form of algorithmic moderation pushes users to constantly innovate linguistically to stay visible, impacting how language evolves on these platforms. Researchers at MIT have studied how these algorithm-driven changes affect language. Their findings suggest that as users adapt to these algorithmic preferences, new forms of digital dialects emerge. These dialects can include everything from slang terms to emoji sequences, each tailored to optimize visibility and engagement within the algorithmic framework of different platforms. Looking deeper into the algorithmic impact on language, more studies from MIT's Media Lab have demonstrated how changes in algorithm policies at major social media companies can lead to significant shifts in language use across entire platforms. When algorithms start penalizing certain words, new synonyms often emerge almost instantaneously as communities rapidly adapt to maintain visibility. Dr. Sarah Roberts of UCLA has noted that this constant adaptation can lead to a cat-and-mouse game between users and platform developers. As each side evolves, so does the complexity of the interactions, with significant implications for automated content moderation technologies, which must continuously learn from ever-changing user-generated content. This interaction highlights a broader trend identified in digital communication research, the move towards increasingly sophisticated forms of expression that challenge simplistic binary notions of compliance or defiance. Instead, users navigate a nuanced terrain, crafting an ever-evolving language that reflects their needs and the pressures they face. The influence of algorithms extends beyond simple content moderation to shape the very core of cultural and linguistic development online. Algorithms do not merely react to language, they actively construct the linguistic marketplace of ideas by amplifying some voices while silencing others. This selective visibility significantly impacts cultural trends and social movements, often determining which issues gain momentum and which fade into obscurity. Scholars like Dr. Tanya Lacote at Dublin City University argue that this algorithmic shaping of discourse contributes to what she terms algorithmic realism, where users start to perceive the version of reality algorithms present as the most authoritative or genuine. This perception can dramatically skew public understanding and awareness, particularly in politically charged environments. Moreover, the rapid evolution of emoji usage in digital communication exemplifies another layer of algorithmic influence. As platforms begin to recognize and weigh the communicative value of emojis, users increasingly turn to these visual symbols to express complex emotions and ideas, circumventing textual censorship and enhancing expressiveness in a visually oriented online world. Additionally, the rapid evolution of emoji usage in digital communication exemplifies another layer of algorithmic influence. As platforms begin to recognize and weigh the communicative value of emojis, users increasingly turn to these visual symbols to express complex emotions and ideas, circumventing textual censorship and enhancing expressiveness in a visually oriented online world. As we see language adapt to the constraints and opportunities of digital platforms, it's essential to consider the broader implication. Are we witnessing a new form of linguistic creativity, or are we seeing a troubling trend towards self-censorship? The answer might be a bit of both. This evolution challenges traditional notions of language purity and raises questions about the future of communication. As digital natives, younger generations are at the forefront of these changes, often blurring the lines between online and offline communications. This has implication for education, policymaking, and even the development of AI technologies, which must continually adapt to understand and process these evolving forms of speech. On a societal level, the resilience and adaptability of language reflects our collective attempt to maintain autonomy over our voice in an increasingly algorithm-driven world. This dynamic between user innovation and technological control will likely define the next era of digital communication. The evolution of digital language also raises important questions about the future of communication. A study by researchers at Stanford University posits that as new generations grow up fluent in both online and offline linguistic coding, the boundary between these forms may blur, leading to profound changes in how language is used to construct reality. Furthermore, the adaptability of digital language can serve as a powerful tool for societal change. As Dr. Joan Donovan, founder of the Critical Internet Studies Institute, suggests, by reappropriating terms and creating new lexicons, online communities can challenge existing power structures and redefine societal norms. This linguistic creativity is not just reactive, it's a proactive mechanism for cultural transformation. The global nature of online platforms also ensures that these linguistic innovations are not confined to any single region or culture. They can spread rapidly across the world, influencing languages and social interactions far beyond their points of origin. This global interconnectivity presents unique opportunities and challenges for the preservation of linguistic diversity in the digital age. As digital language continues to evolve, it prompts a reevaluation of traditional linguistic theory. The fluidity of online language challenges static views of semantics and pragmatics, pushing linguists to consider more dynamic models of language change. This shift has significant implications for education systems, which must adapt to prepare students for a world where digital fluency is as crucial as traditional literacy. The global spread of internet slang and digital euphemisms also raises questions about the future of the English language as a global lingua franca. Will the pervasive influence of online English hasten the adoption of its colloquial forms in non-English speaking countries? Or could it encourage the development of hybrid languages that blend English with local languages in digital communication? These questions are at the forefront of research in global communications and linguistic evolution. Finally, the democratization of language creation in digital spaces embodies a shift towards a more participatory culture in linguistics. This shift challenges traditional gatekeeping roles of academic and cultural institutions in language standardization, suggesting a more grassroots approach to linguistic evolution that reflects the lived experiences of globally connected populaces. Our journey through the evolving landscape of digital language reveals so much about our creativity, our challenges, and our changes as a society. By understanding how and why language adapts, we gain insight into the broader dynamics of power, identity, and resistance in the digital age. These insights empower us to navigate and shape digital spaces with greater awareness and agency. As we wrap up today's exploration into the evolution of digital language, it's clear that the words we choose and the ways we adapt them are more than a mere convenience. They reflect our struggles, our innovations, and the enduring human spirit to communicate and to connect. By understanding the forces shaping digital language, we not only gain insight into how we communicate today, but also how we might continue to evolve and adapt in a world where digital and physical realities increasingly intertwine. Thank you for tuning in to Cyberspace. I'm Leslie Poston, encouraging you to keep pushing the boundaries of language and expression. Keep exploring new dialects of the digital age and embrace the rich tapestry of communication that connects us all. Until next time, stay curious.